There are clearly going to be hurdles to cross as we try to break down these barriers. Today, we went to 3 military bases, none of which have been visited by Americans since the war. We were the first people to land unexpectedly at 2 of them, incidentally, and the commander of one of the bases came out to us and said, you know, we didn't think you were landing here. We expected you somewhere else. But they received us warmly, talked to us, answered our questions, and we felt that it was a very satisfactory demonstration of the effort to try to follow up on the promises of the highest levels of the ministries. Later today, we arrived at Phu Quoc Island, Antoi Base, again, a place nobody has been. We went there to try to learn about the security measures by which some Americans and other foreigners have been arrested on the high seas, some of them involved, incidentally, in drug trafficking and in criminal violations. But because of their being put into the criminal system, they are potentially the source of a live sighting report. And so it is very important for us to be able to know who came into that system, where and when, and where they were transferred to, so as to be able to correlate it to any live sighting report and thereby make a judgment as to whether or not a person the subject of a live sighting report is in fact a legitimate detainee within the criminal system of Vietnam. My sense is, and I'm going to stop here and let Senator Smith pick up, my sense is that this was a very positive step forward in this process. Clearly, there are wrinkles to be worked out. Clearly, there are follow-up visits that need to be made on the basis of today. But for one day's work, I think it was a very significant advancement of the relationship, an advancement of the process itself, which we are both trying to put in place. And it is my judgment that if we can use these last 2 days as a building block to constructively put in front of our countries a number of test cases and a further opening of the process, I believe that what each of us said to Secretary General Doi Moi in our visit in Hanoi, that this process can be concluded and that it is possible for us to have resolution, that we can make those words real. It will take further cooperation. It will take a number of months in the next few months of our own teams in Vietnam working cooperatively to provide the full measure of the test of this effort. But I, for one, as chairman of the committee, and I think my vice chairman shares the feeling, are pleased that we have made a significant step forward, that we're on a good road, and we both hope very, very much, and I know others agree, that we can continue down this road. I think it's very significant and has the potential to deliver important results for the United States of America and all of the families and all of those who are waiting for a final word, as well as for Vietnam, which clearly is looking to a new and different relationship in the future. Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, just a brief comment on a reflection, and I know that Senator Kerry and I discussed this on the helicopter, so we share this as both of us as veterans flying over the region, and looking down on it was a unique experience, I think, for both of us since we served here, and we thought often about the death on both sides that took place down there in that region. So it was a strange feeling to be back, but one thing about it is coming back now with the desire to resolve this issue, as Senator Kerry said, for the families, to find out as much as we can about to conclude the final chapter of this war, and I think that's our goal. I just want to just briefly footnote a couple of things and turn it over to Senator Grassley. The key here is that as Senator Kerry said, we made a great start. If our teams can get back in the field and follow up these things, and the Vietnamese have promised us that, and the General Secretary himself promised us that, this can be very, very helpful. As Senator Kerry also said, we visited sites. We dropped in out of the sky unannounced on 3 different military installations. At least as far as the specific location, that's not correct. Let me correct that. We dropped in on 3 military installations, but not in one case, not knowing exactly where we were going to be. If the teams can follow through and follow up on this, then this will be great progress. And the key point here is that these are live sighting reports that we are focusing on today, and on these stops. Our technical teams are going to be getting information that the committee will be providing on the best cases that we have, the best sightings that we have, and we'll be able to gain access. If we can gain access, as the Vietnamese have promised, then we think we can resolve many of these cases. So I'm very pleased, frankly, that we've gotten as far as we have. We had a tremendous pilot today, a very skilled and professional person, and Mr. Fong was extremely helpful and courteous and took us through a few rough times there when it was a little difficult, as Senator Kerry said, with some of the procedures that we had to go through. And I would just like to say in conclusion that tomorrow we leave for Vientiane and Laos, and I would like to challenge Laos, who did not participate in the Paris Peace Accords, who have not ever provided any significant information on the people that are missing in their country, our people who are missing in their country. I would challenge them to follow in the wake of Cambodia and Vietnam and give us the cooperation that we need to gain access. We hope to be able to get on helicopters in Laos tomorrow and the next day and travel to areas of their country, giving with the same professionalism and latitude that was given to us in Vietnam. If we do that, then we may go a long way toward resolving this issue.
Senator Grassley.
I had 5 separate meetings today, 5 different approaches to this entire issue. I started each meeting with an explanation of the previous day's meeting and suggested to the local officials here that I visited with that if the spirit as well as the statement is carried out fully as stated by the General Secretary yesterday, that we would have a very productive results from the enhanced process that we're going through here. My first meeting was with a Mr. Tom from the Office of External Affairs. He is the one working with the American POW issue, and he has been doing it since 1975. He explained the process by which he learns of live sighting reports and notifies the U.S. POW MIA office in Hanoi, and whereby, as a result of that, a joint investigation of the report can then be conducted. We also discussed the criminal statutes in Vietnam against the sale and purchase of human remains, and this came up at several of different meetings we've had. And it's, they see it as a very major problem, as we see it as a very major problem. I emphasize the importance of Mr. Tom informing our POW MIA officials in Hanoi immediately of any information relating to the possible live sighting reports and location of remains of U.S. personnel. Our next meeting was with former re-education camp inmates. We had a very interesting and informative discussion with 16 individuals who were sent to re-education camps following the collapse and the defeat of South Vietnam in 1975. Now, several of these individuals remembered seeing a foreigner matching the description of Robert Garwood, who returned to the United States in 1979. These individuals told us that it was the first time that they had spoken to Americans regarding their knowledge of Mr. Garwood. The point being that at the meeting they had with me, it was the first time that they had made any mention to anybody that they had seen Robert Garwood, who they knew by the name of Mr. Nam. We appreciated the opportunity to meet with individuals who might have knowledge of Americans possibly held in Vietnam after the war. And information provided by several of these individuals will be forwarded for additional investigation by the U.S. POW MIA office in Vietnam. We also had a discussion with returnees. That discussion did not last so long because they did not talk of any reports they had in any of their camps about any knowledge, rumors, etc., of Americans being held in captivity or any Americans in Vietnam that they knew of. But it was an opportunity for us to have a first-hand contact with people who had wanted to be classified as refugees, weren't classified as refugees, now repatriated, and gave us an opportunity, me an opportunity at least, to see how they saw the new environment they were in. But they did not speak very freely about it, and it may have been the environment we were in, but anyway, it was very beneficial for me. Then this afternoon I met with an individual who had been charged with selling fraudulent information on American POW MIAs. In this case, it was presumably somebody who had been seen, or he was hoping that it would be treated like a live sighting report. This individual said that he was paid 1 teal of gold, and that would be approximately $450 US, for a quote-unquote file that he had created using dog tags and fake letters for a purported American POW named Samuel H. Smith. Now, the Ho Chi Minh City police official was with him, and this was a person who had investigated this person charged. And so we had an opportunity to speak with him, and he said that there was about 10 individuals charged in the so-called Smith case. We were told also that this type of activity is fairly common in and around Ho Chi Minh City, and that several others arrests have been made. We emphasize the importance of distinguishing between what is clearly fraudulent and material and information which might be useful in resolving remaining cases. In this regard, we requested that the U.S. POW MIA office and our committee be kept informed of any potentially valid information on unaccounted for U.S. servicemen. We were also told that this individual will probably be sentenced to somewhere between 3 and 5 years for this crime that he committed. My last meeting this afternoon was a very good meeting with the Deputy Mayor of Ho Chi Minh City, Mr. Vo Viet Tong. We found it productive. We emphasize the importance of translating the firm commitments of cooperation made by senior government officials in Hanoi into concrete actions involving access to records and the location of U.S. government and committee investigators. We also requested the Deputy Mayor's help in a case that we have brought up several times since we've been in Vietnam. This is the case of an individual turned over to us several years ago, and we have on 5 occasions been trying to